century, Britain was involved in what they call the Battle of Britain from the summer to the early fall of 1940, when Hitler and his German Air Force, the Luftwaffe, thought they could bomb Great Britain into submission, but they didn't, because the Brits said, we're not going to let that happen. They had the Spitfires, they had the Hurricanes, and they had Curtiss P-40s. But P-40s were in short supply, and they couldn't keep up. Curtiss, an American-built airplane, couldn't keep up with production, so they went to North American Aviation.
And then with the help of NASA, North American Aviation Engineers, they came up in a very short time period with an airplane we're going to see next. That became the P-51 Mustang. And originally, it didn't have an advantage because it didn't have the trajectory. But it did not have the capability to get up into the dog fighter region. The wings of the P-51 could not do what they were meant to do. The engine could not get up to the high altitude, but still, the Rolls-Royce is a product of Great Britain. Made in America by the Packard Motor Car Company in Detroit, Michigan, was the replacement engine. Now, the wings could get up another 10,000 feet of altitude. From about 25,000 feet to 35,000 feet, and there were over 50,000 built. Now, if you hear there's more or less, we say, Rob and I say,
if you're right, if you're, the numbers vary wildly. There are very few airplanes on which there is any kind of agreement about that. But the Mustang, it was so important that, and it was the industry decided to put that engine on the front.
Archie's been flying since he was 3. Of course, he was number 6. Where the wings connect, there is a protrusion that is radiated like your car in the front. It is a liquid cooled engine. It also houses the oil radiator as well. Now that is a big protrusion, but here's the genius of North American Aviation. They made that from a disadvantage. Called American. Look at this whole straight line. R.T. Dickson in the swamp box. Right down. Stop the knife edge plane. Hold it upside down.
Aspect to that radiator system. The initial Mustang design, when they were putting it together in that supposed 100, he said they were having cooling problems because the air was turbulent going in and it wasn't getting in there properly. So they separated the bottom of the fuselage from the top of the scoop with a gutter. And that's 1940s technology. 30 years later, what do we see it on?
The F-16.
Good.
So, aerodynamic. Work back in. Right down. rounds per minute. P-51 Mustang, like the one in the air, like the sea level.
Boy, talk about cool. Being alone up there. The most, oh yeah, and this is, they had the Senate War Investigative Committee, and they wanted to make sure that the monies being spent on these weapon systems was being spent wisely. Then Senator Harry Truman, later to become President of the United States, said of the Mustang that it was the most aerodynamically perfect pursuit plane.
All right, now watch this. Typical, but not World War II, was the jailhouse environment. So our team puts down on the main gear, all the wheel landing, keeping the tail up for forward visibility, rudder authority. Hear that pop, pop, pop? That's unburnt gasoline going out to the ends of the exhaust stack. We're going to do that with all of our maintenance issues. So, let's skip the schedule the way we see it now.
If we get the Viper up, that will be questionable, but we might see the Heritage flight aircraft, another P-51 Mustang coming through. Then Greg Coombs, the 50 years, celebrating 50 years in the business here at the 50th anniversary of the CenterPoint Dayton Air Show presented by Kroger.
As you celebrate your 25th year, big year of celebration. And what better place to celebrate than being Ohio?
He is a 5-time world freestyle aerobatic champion. And he is, what is it, 12? Actually, because of their positioning, tell the positioning of it behind the exhaust of the engines, it's very unique.
It creates its own lift through the engine. The engines are canted up, so when they get into reverse, they won't ingest a lot of debris on an unimproved airport. Now, 3,500 feet in a
An aviation enthusiast in your family, this is a great place to stock up on swing.
The Christmas gifts you want are here. Birthday, graduation, anniversary. Everybody's right. Yeah, we love your numbers. We'll use your numbers someday.
Fact of the matter is, the airplane that just took off is one of the most important airplanes in all of World War II and makes everybody's top 10 list. Yeah, the Swamp Fox was a guy that was fighting with the Americans against the British. See, the British were very proper. They fought. British named his airplane Swamp Fox.
And our team coming from the Carolinas thought it was wrong with it. Dickson, flying P-53. Oh yes, he was supervised. Then soloing at the legal age of 16, started flying air shows back in 1992. The airframe delivered to the 445th Fighter Squadron in Bakersfield, California, back in May of 1945. Served in active and guard units. The last duty station was just south of here, Stanford Airport in Louisville, Kentucky. Went surplus in '57, came out of restoration in 2012, and painted in honor of Will Ward's last mount as he fought in World War II in England in his little na-na-na-na-na to the British.
That's
the
right.
Swamp Fox. Off the deck.
The airmen stayed with the bombers. They didn't go off chasing aerial victories. They stayed to protect those bombers, and they ended up being the most requested guys out there. And there is an airplane out here on the air show circuit that has that name by request.
There's also a traveling mobile theater that tells the story of not only the Tuskegee and into training in North America and around the world. All right, let's watch and listen. R.T. Dickson is the artist in the sky doing what is done best with the P-51. And by the way, it is such a popular airplane, it even knows how to whistle. Listen to this. We got enough speed, you'll hear it. said to have been manufactured. There are about 150 that still exist worldwide. However, at any given day, probably only 70 or 80 of those aircraft could actually get off the ground and fly. On takeoff, RT was burning 120 gallons of very expensive aviation fuel an hour. Now, in this demonstration, he's only burning about 60 gallons an hour, times $7 plus. Do the multiplication.
420 bucks every. Never mind. I don't want to know that.
But they keep him in the air, keep him flying, and keep him as a lesson and how technology was back in World War II. You know, they were continued to be used in Korea as a ground attack aircraft because it was going to be a jet dogfight arena in Korea, but the aircraft were still viable in the ground attack environment.
Especially under the capable hands of the American pilots who had flown them during World War II and outclassed the North Korean pilots who didn't have quite the experience in the aircraft.
R.T. Dickson, our pilot and owner of the aircraft, would like to thank Concord Aircraft Batteries of West Covina, California, and now with a location outside of it, Atlanta, Georgia, for their support. And I concur with that. They are one of my great sponsors as well. And also Lift Aviation.